Right, come on, because we've not even touched on the documentary, Tories Trophy, the fact that you went.
How long we got? Just out of interest, because
well, you've got to. The thing is, as people might know
got
or
another
not,
35 seconds. Get it all in.
we've got.
Documentary's
we're currently at the Manx Grand Prix, and you're out in an hour and a half.
oh, plenty of time. If you've got an hour and a half, I'd quite happily.
No,
chew
that's
your ear off.
you have to be lid on, levers up.
Yeah, that's fine. Give
Visor
us
down.
our 25 minutes. We're fine.
Decided to do these every single race.
What was the driving force behind that? So you didn't just suddenly see Ernie coach one day in his van and think, oh, I'm going to do what Ernie did. You know, so there must have been a conversation, or someone said to you, either I bet you can't do that, or some
Over a pint.
Over a pint.
Over a pint. Yeah.
What was the?
It was actually Shuey. So
Yeah.
Shuey, we got chatting in.
That's Paul Shoesmith.
Yeah.
Paul Shoesmith. And he actually said, you know, we were just chatting about racing. He was on the stock Beamer, I was on whatever, and we were just chatting. And then all of a sudden he said, oh, I've bought a sidecar. And I was like, what the fuck you bought one of them for? They're fucking lunatics. And then we sort of chatted about it, and I sort of got a vague grasp of where he was coming from in terms of, if you look at throttle percentages and everything else. I think his mentality was slightly wrong in terms of, he was like, it should be nice and easy because he's just flat everywhere.
Yeah.
Get where he was coming from, but it sort of...
Bearing in mind, Shuey was probably the most unfit little man. Do you know what I mean? And this is as a friend. You're like, that was typical. He was looking at it because, that'll be easier. That's what we need.
I don't need to move around on the bike. I can
So
just
I
sit
can
there,
just
just
sit
twist
there,
the throttle, do that
Someone
a
else
couple
can
of
do
times,
the work on
and
the
someone
bike.
else can do
I'll
the
just
work.
say
And I thought to myself, and to be fair, that later on that day, so we were chatting that day, I broke down at, there's a right-hander just after K3. So just sat on that bench, and there's a bumpy right-hander. And I sat there eating this Marshall sandwiches, drinking his tea, and the sidecars were out next practice session. And I was like, well, I'm I've not seen them through here
flat
before.
out through there as well.
And I could hear these bikes coming. I was like, fucking hell, is that them? Oh, they're ages away yet. Give it 2 or 3 minutes. I was like, nah, they've literally round the corner. Literally 2 or 3 minutes later, can hear them coming through, and I'm like, fuck me, they're not shutting off for anything here. You can hear him just literally down changing for that left-hander before, and then it's just back on again. You can hear him coming, the revs rise, you know, that crescendo of noise.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Molly, Birchall's, Crowies, whoever it was, you know, these boys come past me. And I'm sat with this marshal, and the marshal actually filmed me because he said, I want to see your reaction. I was over the wall. You know, they were flat through this right-hander. The outfit's just skipping around, and I was just like, I went and saw Shuey the next day. I said, mate, you could see the drivers wrestling with these bikes as they're going through this right-hander. More so for Molly, actually. Out of all the, because you could see his shoulders, I think it was. But anyway, I went and saw Shuey. I was like, mate, if you want to do that sidecar, that's slightly wrong. You know, what I've just seen last night and witnessed is not exactly what you're portraying is going to be an easy life. So there was obviously cogs in my head, but also, you know, we're sort of late starting with bikes. We love bikes. I love this place. So I've only got probably another 2 or 3 years of solo racing where I'm aiming for top 10s. Whereas sidecar, you can hopefully carry on. It's an older man sport, let's face it.
Yeah.
You know,
He says that not normal old men race sidecars. It's not.
No. Yeah,
Do you know
John
what I mean?
Alden-
He
John
says that
Alden's
like he's
a,
going to play a croquet, or do you know what I mean? It's not. You don't get to 65.
Crow
and
cream
go,
bowls.
Croquet's got the adrenaline buzz.
I'm
sure.
gonna go to the TT when I'm 65 and race a sidecar. That is not the thought process of normal people.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it's the way things. It's the sort of generation thing. You know, you get a couple of mates together. Let's buy a sidecar. Let's go racing, because they've had that. They've got the midlife crisis, but they've also got that. The kids have moved out, and that's what, you know. It's very rare that you've got the Birchalls, the Crows, and a few others that are coming up through at 20s.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately just part of that. You've got to appreciate that in this system of that race series.
Yeah.
It is an older man generation. So when the TT said no one over 40 can do it, they literally crippled it straight away, because.
Did they say that?
Well, it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Over 40, no one over 40 can enter. And I was like, that's going to... And it did, unfortunately, for the sidecar fraternity.
Yeah.
It sort of did have a bit of a knock-on effect, because 10, 15 guys I know that were desperate to do it. But of course, they only started racing at 40.
Yeah.
They've then now got their national license at 50, and they now want to do the TT. Still very good races.
So you mean you can't come as a newcomer?
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. I thought he doesn't mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is what
No,
I
sorry,
remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't come as a newcomer.
As a newcomer.
So if you raced 20 years ago, even you would be allowed to come back.
Yes.
And, yeah.
So it sort of just had that little bit of a knock-on effect of affecting that sidecar mentality of, oh shit. And then obviously you've got...
I don't really understand the theory behind that, because if you're still coming at 60 and they're worried about you not being physically fit enough, do you know what I mean? I don't understand.
I can get it. From a solo point of view, I can get it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they just had that blanket rule of...
So everyone... Oh, so it's for solos and...
Yeah.
I didn't even...
It was about 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, they said, right, however many years ago, they said, right, there is a blanket cut off, no newcomers over 40. And of course, there was a couple of solos that wanted to do it.
Out.
Is this going to affect his career?
No.
No, I think
I've got a special dispensation.
Still got your Steve Plater license of 26, haven't you?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm good. Yeah.
With your stature, Chris, you'll be fine.
What?
He looked you in the eye when he said that. Even that was cold. That was cold.
His stature.
He's got the shoulders.
I've got the weight.
I've got the weight behind me. You've got the pecs, the shoulders, the lot.
I might be 45, but I've got the weight. I don't think that's going to really persuade them.
Can you ride a bike? Not really, but I am fat.
I promise I won't blow away.
They make a good passenger. We've established that already.
Exactly, yeah.
Just sit like a sack of spuds.
So would he not be allowed to be a passenger now as well? Then is that?
No, I think they sort of changed it because they realised that it
was going to kill
it. Was going to kill it off within 2 or 3 years.
Again, I've got special dispensation, mate. Definitely. They know me around here.
Definitely
special.
You got some weight. Pull. You got some pull.
Got some pull. That's better.
So that was but long and short of it, that's where the sort of idea probably stemmed from.
Yeah.
And then we got involved with True Heroes Racing at BSB, and at the time I got involved with them, I thought they wanted me to race my Superstock bike in Superstock for them, and they said no. They're
proper team.
Good team. Do a lot of stuff for obviously injured riders and injured servicemen. No, we'll provide the bike. So obviously when they provided the bike, I was like, well, I've got the Superstock ZX10 here. And I sort of spoke to Phil, and obviously we've got some guys involved with the team that have lost some limbs. And I said, well, look, I want to get involved with sidecars potentially. If you don't need me to race my Superstock bike, I'll sell that and then put that money into a sidecar. And he's like, oh, sidecar, yeah, that'd be good, obviously for the amputee side of things as well, which potentially is definitely an avenue that they can go. Look at Rick Long with one leg missing racing, still a phenomenal rider. There's a driver that I know that races TT without one leg. Is it one leg? Yeah, because he's invented the Pro Shift guy. So, he can't change gear with his legs.
Yeah. So
the sidecar, actually, in terms of missing limbs, is an avenue for getting people into racing. So it tweaked his idea, definitely tweaked my idea, because it was an avenue, because no one's going to say, at this point I knew Revo, and I was like, Tim, can I borrow your sidecar? Yeah, mate, fuck off. It's like, no one's going to lend you 40 grand's worth of sidecar to go and try it just to see if you like it. So got rid of the Superstock bike, bought the Shell One outfit, and again, as soon as I got in it, the little haunch was going. I was like, fuck me, I love this. And
because they get battered around, like you see them, it's not uncommon for the chassis to need welding and they do.
The bikes take a battering. Yeah, absolutely. And you can see it with the drive. And I again didn't appreciate how physically hard work it was. So we get into this sidecar outfit. First time down Solby Straight, I'm bounced out the seat onto the seat unit. I'm like, what the?
Bounced out of the seat.
Out of the seat. So I literally was like, Freddie was in there, sort of tucked in the back, and I'm literally nearly joining him. My ass.
That'd have been fun if he'd have looked up and you sat beside him.
Should you not be there? So yeah, just a massive eye opener. It did take some getting used to, I have to admit. So in terms of, didn't want to do a shoey and sort of say this is going to be easy, but did have a sort of mentality of thinking we'd done all right at the 700. We'd done all right at short circuits in the limited time we'd been racing sidecars. So I sort of came to the TT thinking, we're going to go all right. But the TT course is so different, like Lee said before. Yeah. It's so different to the 700. that was my first introduction to road racing.
Yeah.
It's like a billiard table. Yes, there is bumps,
but
it doesn't kick the bike over the track.
Yeah.
Came to the TT, I got down Braille and I was like fighting the bike just to get it to turn. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But the camber has such an effect on the bike. So you get on the brakes and it just fucks off to the side and you're like, oh my days. And you're getting off the brake to get it back in line to then brake again. So different. And then obviously the bumps through from sort of end of Solby, start of Solby that year, you know, all the way through to sort of Ramsey.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus Christ. And I bit my tongue. I fucking nearly lost my tooth. Vicky this year bloodied her nose, bit through her tongue. They take a battering. Really? Take an absolute battering.
I know I have a lot of respect for a driver, but anytime you're in the physio, there will be a sidecar passenger in the body's all bruised.
I'll bet.
It's just smashing off a carbon fibre plate for seven, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no
20 minutes.
about
you just summed it up.
It's like someone might be just hitting you, it's just sitting tapping away at you with a cricket bat for 20 minutes. You're like, it's not,
exactly that. And it's just that reoccurring.
Yeah. CM Spock gets hit,
all
CM
over.
Porter.
It's horrendous. And Vic, I mean, they are all tough as nails, but Vicky, as a female passenger, fucking Jesus, I've never met anyone like it. She's amazing though. Absolutely love her to pieces. And she's refreshed me because obviously sidecars, when we go racing solos, you get the bike out of the van, put it on tyre warmers and away you go. It's you and the bike.
Yeah.
The sidecar side of things, and this is where we sort of had some issues to start off with in the 3 years I've been racing them. There's a third party.
Were you selfish? Because we're all selfish.
We're all selfish, but there's...
We're
all selfish to a degree, but I'm actually quite selfless, I think.
Yeah.
I think you'll find, if you got to know me a bit more, Lee, I think you'll find I'm quite selfless.
I'm not.
Yeah, he's not.
There's a third party involvement, there's another personality, and that's where we were clashing. So when we got Vicky involved, not that we didn't enjoy the racing with Sean and whoever else we had on, Tom was mega, but he didn't want to do roads, so there is that. You haven't got a sack of spuds sat there.
Yeah.
In some respects, I wish you could have that.
Yeah.
Do you want a sack of spuds or do you want a passenger? I'll tell you what, sometimes, it's easy to just get rid of that other personality. But for me, having Vicky is just mega refreshing. We just enjoy it. We're never going to be the Birchalls. We're never going to be the short circuit champions. We just want to enjoy racing. And I think that's what it is. You spend a lot of money going racing, you may as well fucking enjoy it.
Yeah. But again, if you've not watched it, people at home, if you're listening to this, the Tourist Trophy documentary, I'll still remember it's one of the last shots where you stood outside the tent and you look like you've aged about 20 years.
Like you didn't sleep for 2 weeks.
But I look at it and I go, how safe is that?
Yeah.
Because at what point do you have to say, was there any point during all that you were like, nah, this is too much?
I've got when we spoke about the TT, you've got to have that respect for the TT. Mm-hmm. I've got a healthy respect for myself in terms of if I've gone past that point, I will definitely pull myself.
To make a logical...
Yeah, I'll definitely say to myself, right, do you know what? I mean, this year before the Super Twin race, I was actually asleep on Glen Crutchley Road. Because just jumped off the super stock bike. This was the Friday, so the last day before the senior race day. Got off the super stock bike, and they said, you've got 45 minutes, whatever it is, before the Super Twin race. And I was like, right, I'm just going to be up there, and I literally just went up against the wall. Nice, blazing hot day, so I was in the shade, bit of a breeze. I was asleep. And they literally kicked me to wake me up before I got on the twin race. And at that point, Grant, who owned the bike, was like, I'm not happy you're riding. I was like, look, trust me, and I knew as soon as I put my lid on, I was like, sat there sort of.
Went back to sleep again.
Didn't feel like it, but, I sort of sat there sort of wiping my eyes thinking, but I knew in myself, if I was going to be too tired, I would have done. And it was the same the year before. We did struggle more the year before because I didn't have my own space to refresh.
Yeah.
This year, obviously, we didn't sleep brilliantly through the nights, but I'd go and see the boys in the morning, have a quick cup of tea and a chat with them, and then I'd just disappear. And I'd have my sleep, like during the day, I'd just snooze for 2 hours before anything was going on. So having that little caravan space was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
We didn't have that year. We made the documentary. I definitely felt at points. I mean, if you look at it as a documentary, it's mega. And as for a privateer, it's been absolutely brilliant. But there are points on it where I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I did look.
Yeah,
I don't look
the enjoyment
amazing.
goes out of it, because you are racing because you want to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? You're not under any realistic thing. You're going to turn up and win a TT. So the second that's not happening, what is the actual point? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, if you're too tired and it's not, you're not going to. If you go around and you had a bit of a scare because you were too tired, you just go, well, this is not. Because you're a logical person, and you're not going to make a.
Yeah.
But how important was it because the idea of this challenge was to start them and ideally finish them?
Yeah, of course we had that was the theory.
Yeah.
In reality, we worded it. We were going to be the first person to start and race as the driver and rider every race. So in 2022, we accomplished it.
Yeah.
We had the goal of finishing every race, and obviously got let down with a gear shifter on the last race.
Yeah.
That was obviously to match.
You spoiled it now. You
that
spoiled
must
the whole
be nice getting the whole way to the last.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, definitely worth it. It is a good documentary.
It's really good.
So we didn't manage it that year, and then obviously that was it for me in terms of trying that challenge until the TT organisers changed the schedule.
Let's have another 2 races.
And I said, well, look, let's just keep the ball rolling. Again, we did the whole of TT 2022 on, I think it was about $5,500. And this year it's about $7,500, $8,000.
Isn't it?
So we don't have massive budgets. We've just got very kind people that lend me bikes.
Yeah.
Without them, I wouldn't be riding. It's as simple as that.
And most teams that wouldn't even be your accommodation and food bill.
No, absolutely.
Nowhere near even.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So I've got, and I am thankful. At the end of the day, as a privateer racing motorcycles at 40 odd years old, I am thankful every time I get on a bike. Because I know without these people supporting me, like this year on the Manx Norton and on the Kawasaki, without these guys ringing me up and saying, I've got a bike here, do you want to ride it? I wouldn't have a pot to piss in. So, I'm very thankful to these guys, and hopefully that sort of coverage and stuff will get us up there. Because I know if I was on an Ashcourt Racing R6, I'd be in the top 5.
Easy.
To be honest,
probably pushing towards top 3.
I'm going to say it's hard to not win on it. I'm doing a good job of trying not to win on it.
And I'd love that opportunity. I jokingly said it this year in the documentary. I said, if Hickey would lend me, or Fayho would lend me that super stock bike, just to see, potentially not the super stock bike, because big bikes do scare me, but super sport or a good super twin or something like that, and just say, go and have a go.
I think the biggest advantage would be a really good super twin, because you can ride that hard. Even a good super sport bike now, you still have to do 130 mile an hour. But to get a good result and have a good advantage, a good super twin would be the best.
Definitely. I could knock out 120 mile an hour on that and go, because that would just be fun.
And if that kept going, you're realistically in with a chance.
You're in with a chance, definitely.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. I mean, I've only ever ridden super stock machinery, as in the Aprilia is literally bog standard we ran it with standard handlebars on. And it's just one of them. You do feel a little bit, it does need to be lower and stuff like that. But yeah, one day, if we get some money involved, where we can actually put some money into a bike, I'd relish it just to see what would happen. I'm not going to say I'm going to be top 5, but I'd like to think I'd be top 10, pushing towards top 10.
Maybe these people are just waiting for a bit of maturity, and
that's it. Well, I do need to mature mentally.
I'd say there's no chance of that then. He's going to be waiting a long time.
Mentally, I'm still regressing. I think I'm probably about 8 years old.
So talking of wanting new stuff, better stuff potentially, what's the focus and what's the goal for 2024? Because you're off.
We're off.
Listen, we've not even touched on the Falklands, RAF, like any of that, but you are off to the Falklands, you were saying, in a couple of weeks or next week.
Literally, I land back from the Manx on the next Monday night. We leave straight after the race, unfortunately. Won't even make the presentation night because the next day I'm off to the Falklands. So
because you have a day job.
Day job, RAF, Royal Air Force.
I bet you've got some stories from that.
I love it. As a career, it's been very good. I didn't join it I joined it before I even started riding bikes as such. So, it wasn't ever a case of join it because the MSA will pay for your racing. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen anyway. Yeah. But I joined it because my grandfather was in, my dad was in, blah 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 blah. It's just one of those sort of. They enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So it's a good career.
Good career, yeah.
Get to see the world.
Feel like I've earned a few medals out of it and stuff. So I'm proud to say I've done my bit for the Queen and King, and then we're going to move on next year. I think we're coming out next year, middle of next year. We're out after 22 years, so that will change racing to some degree, I'm sure, because everything's done under the MSA banner at the minute. So, we're still going to be racing TT. That's never going to change.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sadly, literally land back from here, head off to the Falklands, back in 2024, fit, healthy, ready for 2024's TT.
To compete in every single event again?
Yes and no.
And are you making it a thing now? You've kind of done that?
No, I don't want to be that guy that just is, it's Jack just trying to do 10 again.
Yeah.
I want to do 10.
Just trying to do 10 again.
I want to do...
Don't think anybody's going to say that.
No, but I don't want to bang the same drum, but I do want to do the challenge.
Yeah.
And if we get that opportunity to do it again, brilliant. The bikes we're on this year, we have still got, so the guys that own it have said, look, if you want them, they're still there. But I have spoken to a manufacturer to see if we can get some back in, just to say, still be bog standard machinery as such, but it'd be nice to do it under an umbrella of a colour, rather than Jack Russell just trying to do it.
Yeah.
And I think, if this manufacturer says there's 4 stock bikes and an engine for the sidecar, from a privateer's point of view, obviously they're not going to give me bikes. I'll pay for them as such, but it would just be hopefully discounted as such.
Yeah.
And then we can put the right parts into them to make them good super stock bikes. Then we're in a position to do it.
If someone said to you, we'll give you a proper Super Twin and a proper Super Sport bike, but just them two, to go at that, would you sacrifice all the rest to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So to get to go at a result and that.
Yeah.
So you would rather have a go at that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, just in case someone's watching, you might end up.
Yeah.
That's what your mindset is.
Sidecar, we're definitely going to be there.
Yeah.
And so say.
But even if someone
Russell Racing came on board and said, right, there's an R6 for Mr. Russell, I'd be like, only if I'm teammate with Dino, because that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Just to be a teammate with Dean Harrison.
Standard.
But so say someone came on board and said, right, there's an R6.
Yeah.
Properly.
Would you sacrifice a cycle if they said you can ride a Super Twin and I'm being bad here, and a Super Sport bike, say my Super Sport bike and Farquhar Super Twin or something like, or Dean's or whatever, and said there's no sidecar.
Vicky's not hopefully going to listen.
He's thinking about this one, isn't he?
No, I probably would sacrifice it for a year.
Yeah,
to do that.
And then the next year you could
just
get
to see what I could do. If I'm honest,
do you feel that you would get better results if you didn't concentrate on going for the 10 or the 8?
Not on the machinery I'm on, because the machinery I'm on is
he's riding it as hard as you can.
We did 116 on that Aprilia this year. That was 94 horsepower, and they have mega bikes out of the crate. But we have Maxxis suspension on it, race body work, standard electronics, standard air filter.
This is a 660.
Standard brakes. Yeah, the 660. We just put an VFR 750 bastardised tank on it just to do the 2 laps. And we went racing, and it was, I put a big screen on it because you need a bit of wind protection for your neck. But we went racing, and last year we struggled because we had to knock the 500 RPM off, and we actually went a little bit lower than that just to be safe. So if we did get caught, if we did get pulled in, it was like, you're definitely not cheating as such, you know what I mean? But it fucking killed the bike. Literally, I was just like, this is absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
This year, obviously, we could do that. So we just plugged it back in, dialed in those, as technical as I can get, the numbers into that.
Into the little box.
What do you call it?
Parameters into the. Into the.
Not Motec, it's just on the Dynajet box. Rejetted it for 11,500 RPM. And again, as soon as I got on the bike, I was like, oh, this is...
Because that bike actually makes power right to 11. Like some bikes don't, and that's why he felt that it died. Because we have one as
we just cut all fuel at 10.8, just so if we get pulled in. But it just killed the bike.
Yeah.
I think we did 113 or 112 or something. I was like, that's embarrassing in terms of what we could have done.
In respect, yeah.
And then this year, up that limit, and we just kept plodding away. Just enjoyed the ride. You know, I was knackered. I fell asleep before the race, but as soon as I got on the bike and got going, just loved it. You know, and you're racing that TT course. So like Lee said earlier on, never going to go for a podium, but for me, just to race this course, and just to see those people waving you on and clapping, is what I live for in terms of, well, hopefully one day if Russell Racing comes on board and says there's an R6, we could push up the echelons.
Yeah. But
reality is I ain't got any money to go, because a lot of it's a money sport, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately if it's just to pay for an engine refresh, I can't afford fucking £5,000 for an engine refresh. Thanks anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. But I'm happy doing what we can. So if we get the manufacturer on board and we can say there's all 10 races, brilliant. If someone turned around and said there's a Super Twin Super Sport and you can't do anything else, if it's a good one, then I probably would definitely consider it. And I'd have a year off it.
If you've got any super fast, super sport or super twin bikes but
I'd like to do testing beforehand. That's the other thing.
Oh, now
he
wants some more.
I tell you what, he's not easily pleased, this one, is he?
We can't
tell you if you look like hard work.
I think from a safety point.
I want a wild card in MotoGP. And then I'll be happy.
Steady weekend in Valencia, just to get a tan.
Right, let's finish this off. Steve Plater's quickfire questions. One or the other, no explanation needed. Ready? Dunlop or McGuinness?
McGuinness.
Lee Johnston or Steve Plater?
Steve Plater.
Ginger Hall to Ramsey or Ramsey to Cronknamona?
Ginger Hall to Ramsey.
Ooh. Lager or beer?
Lager.
Sidecar or solo?
Both.
No. Birchall sidecar or Russell Racing R6?
Fuck's sake.
We're not going. We're not leaving this. You've got to be out in 5 minutes. Don't want to push for an answer.
I'd take the Birchalls.
Right. Ooh. Sidecar. Nice. Outright lap record or senior TT win?
Neither, so I'll just go senior TT win.
Right. Falklands or UK?
UK.
As a passenger, Tom Birchall or Callum Crowe?
Callum.
Nice. And then finally, pineapple or never pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple.
Oh, Steve will be happy with that. Mike, absolute pleasure. We need to get you in for part 2 so we can talk all about the RAF. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jack Russell. I keep forgetting people refer to him as Jack Russell, but I don't know why. I forgot to ask him.
See, if Steve was here,
Steve would have got...
He would have got that information.
He would have got that, yeah.
I didn't know that information, so I didn't know not to ask that question.
It's funny that because, you know, you get your notes given to you and you research, and I bring it on my iPad. What do? Sit on your hands and then answer your phone halfway through a podcast. The amount of editing, guys, that goes into this because Lee Johnston is so busy on his phone is unbelievable.
I'm telling you, right, being liked is a bloody hard it's a struggle, it's a burden, do you know? I'm just glad you've never had to carry that burden.
And I never will.
Yeah, good.
And I'll never have to. But, cracking chat with him. And I'm interested to find out more about like his real life job in the RAF.
Oh yeah. That actually cool there's not many people that are like have a normal, that's not really a normal day job where you're like genuinely intrigued to, but that being in the RAF is like, I bet he's got some good stories.
What'd you do? Work at Lidl? All right, fair dues.
Depends what aisle though, because when they do their section where all that stuff you can buy.
Oh, the middle aisle.
Unbelievable.
What's the most random thing you've ever seen in the middle aisle? I saw a TIG
canoe.
welder once.
Oh, blow up kayak I bought once.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't even have anywhere to bring it.
There's no water.
Didn't fit in the bath. You think I'm joking as well? I tried.
Right, that's your challenge for the next podcast. Bring in something from the middle aisle of Lidl.
Oh, I'm skinned.
That's another episode of the TT podcast done and dusted. Be sure to leave us a rating and a review if you listen to your podcast over on Spotify, over on iTunes, or you're watching this right now on YouTube. It's not the first place you can watch it because that is TT Plus. And we've got a banger coming up next week. Here's a clip right now for you.
Do you know what? This year at the TT, I didn't know how I was going to kind of feel, but I was lucky enough to get 2 laps on the course.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved it, when I got back, I went, yeah, I'm done. And it happened the way I wanted to do it last year. I'd never wanted to like be forced to stop the TT now because it's been so much of my life. And then last year, as much as I enjoyed the race, I got off and I thought, yeah, no, that's it.
As I said, the first place to watch that is right here on TT Plus, 1 week earlier than anywhere else. But until then, from me, Lee, and Mike, well, he's gone. Mike's gone. It's just me and Lee. See you later, guys.